tad different from StreamYard, so my brain has to shift gears.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Off the Cover Thirsty Thursdays. It's the 1,000 subscriber special. I just crossed that last week, closed it in on 1,200 subscribers, and I figured I'd pop off a beer and celebrate with a few fine folks at Hard Cut Reviews and Sin from Sin's Corner. Hey guys.
Hello, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh,
That was me. Sorry.
I had a little echo there. Yeah, congrats, Paul.
Yeah,
That's
congratulations, man.
great. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll pop open this Sam Adams and cheers to everybody watching and everybody watching later on.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. I popped off a video on Ahsoka, so we can just dive right in to the dumpster fire that's Disney Star Wars.
We're just jumping right in, huh?
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to sit out this one because, like I wrote to you, I haven't seen Ahsoka yet.
Okay.
I've heard
there's
there's.
Andor.
I have seen Andor. I loved Andor.
Yeah, Andor was good. Obviously,
Sure, nobody watched.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
So unfortunate.
Are they even making a third season?
A second season.
Second season. Okay.
They are making a second season, and at the end of that's supposed to be the lead up to the beginning
One.
of Rogue One. Yeah.
Rogue One.
Oh, okay. Got
Perfect.
it. I thought they were going to make like.
Good thing we know what happens already.
Yeah.
Right. I know.
This is what happens now with Disney Star Wars. They need to fill in every second of every person's life across the entire universe.
Yes.
There can't just be gaps.
There's no gaps. They leave nothing to the imagination anymore. It doesn't
Nothing.
matter. Oh,
Nothing.
There's a little time period that we haven't addressed. Well, let's make a show about
Oh
it.
wait, there's 3 months where we don't know what Kenobi was doing. We got to get in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what all this is now.
Kenobi was. Sin, have you seen Kenobi?
No, because I heard such bad things about it. But
Is that?
okay, have you guys seen?
It's not the Kenobi show.
Yeah, I heard. Have you guys seen the fan edit of it? I did download that, but I haven't
Oh, I
watched
heard
it
about
yet.
that.
Oh.
Where they cut all the bullshit out. And
Yeah, and I heard it's good, but I haven't watched it yet.
Right.
How long is the fan edit? Do you know?
More than
15
2
minutes.
hours. I thought it was well over 2 hours, but I might be misremembering.
Out of how many episodes? Was it
I
8?
want to say 8. Give or
How
take.
long were the episodes?
2 hours.
I think they were
No.
like 45
No.
minutes.
I
like
mean
an hour.
overall for the whole fan cut.
Yeah, the fan cut is at least 2 hours or more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Ahsoka, you have episodes that are, 45, 50,
Well, the first one was an hour.
an hour, right? But like, you really could just cut down on all the slow scenes where they're
Oh my
just,
God. All the shots of
Scary.
just people walking and people staring and looking at scenery
Oh.
and then looking at each other. You could cut 20 minutes out of that first episode and you would not lose a single thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The editing
So
has been
slow.
all over the map. So like episode 5, I thought the editing was like finally okay. And then, okay, episode 6, yeah, we're back to these like long shots. And I made fun of it in my last
Mhm.
video.
Well, they started switching up directors, right?
Yeah. And
Does Dave Filoni direct like the first few?
a few, yeah. And then they
Mhm,
get the guy from that directed Across the Spider-Verse. Is that the film?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Those are good movies.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
First one's good. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Yeah.
The second one's good.
Second one's
Before I saw one movie, which I did a review on, was it was gonna be my top animated movie of 2023, and then I saw Seth Rogen's Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem.
Oh,
I thought it was fantastic. Art style, no wokeness, no like I
No
gender.
wokeness, even after looking at April O'Neil.
what they did to April
Oh.
O'Neil?
They
They
turned her,
did-
they
they
turned
did
her into
April-
a dumpy Vice reporter.
They did April dirty.
Yeah.
They really, well, that's definitely that's a valid criticism. The art style was incredible, I thought.
Yeah, there was a lot of mixed feelings about the art. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people thought like it looked weird, and
I didn't like the look of the art.
I kind of liked it, like because it's that mixed media type where it's like a very kinetic look, and I
Right.
guess that's kind of like a personal preference. Like I like the look of it, you know, as opposed to like traditional animation, which you've got plenty of. This type of animation kind of, it's different, you know, it's just something unique.
I didn't mind the look. I think that's probably the least of the movie's problems is the animation style. I haven't seen it.
Wait,
I took one look at April O'Neil and I was out.
Not my April.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
That was actually my sentiment as well. It really annoyed me. I have less and less tolerance for that as it continues to go on. So I just get immediately turned off when I see changes
Race,
like that.
race
Yeah.
and gender swapping.
Race and gender swapping annoy the hell out of me. I cannot stand
But it was
them.
also more than that. It was also like entire changes in the character. Like
I heard they
put her in
changed
high
her
school.
origin story or something.
They
Yeah,
changed
a little bit,
everything.
Wow.
As opposed to her being like this seasoned reporter, and they. Well, we're still talking about Ahsoka.
I know.
I think we're jumping the gun here on Ninja Turtles.
Well, you know,
that franchise that they're still stringing
nothing
along
is
with.
off limits on this channel. So, you know, whatever you guys want to bring up. You know,
I mean, I can't really say much about Ahsoka because I haven't watched it. And, you know, basically after Last Jedi, I kind of checked out from Star Wars. That was
checked
it
out
for
a
me.
while
So
ago.
I've been checked out for a while. I've seen the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And I mean,
Probably the best Star Wars we've got since Last Jedi.
but that's
I
like,
mean, and
to me
that's
that's not saying much whatsoever. I mean, I saw The Rise of Skywalker was the first Star Wars movie I did not see in theaters. I refused to go see it.
Man, I still bit
refused
the
to pay
bullet
for
and
it.
went.
I refused to pay for it. I absolutely
I don't blame
not.
you. Yeah, I didn't watch any more after after this, when the second one came out, I didn't go see it in the theaters. I watched up until the point that he tossed the lightsaber behind him at the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
my
when
I
they
was
God.
like,
completely ruined
okay,
Luke's
I
character.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm out of this. I just can't. Plus, I got so stinking tired of the character of Rey. I got to where I don't even want to look at her face.
Yeah.
She aggravated
you mean
me.
you
She's
don't
very
like an
insufferable.
awesome woman that's automatically awesome at everything she does?
I just no.
Yeah.
See, that just doesn't work for me.
But did you
So,
see? You did see it, The Last
Nope.
Jedi. Oh,
Nope.
you haven't seen it.
Nope.
Oh.
No, I refuse.
You're so lucky.
I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with like Mary Poppins Leia in space, right?
I heard about
Oh,
that.
man.
Oh
Okay.
my
You live in a
goodness
pre-Last
gracious.
Jedi world.
Yeah,
I
that
think I
must be
saw
pretty
a vid.
exciting.
I think I saw a clip of it too, and it looked just as bad as it was described. As
No,
being.
when I was watching the film in the theater for the first time, the scene that you mentioned where he throws the lightsaber over his shoulder, that happened, and I was like, okay, what? And then
Yeah.
the movie just kept going, and it was just one shitty thing after another. And I was with my brother and like my cousin and some friends, and I wasn't sure how they were feeling about the movie. But then that Leia scene happened, and she started flying through space, and we all sort of like leaned over and looked at each other, and we're like, and so then I knew we were all on the same page. Like, wow, this is a piece of shit.
Oh
And then
my
it ended,
gosh.
and we just vented about it for hours. And then, of course, that was the birth of so many YouTube channels after that
Right.
that movie. You know.
That was the simultaneous birth of new YouTube channels and the death of Star Wars.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that
I mean,
was Captain Marvel.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
gosh,
okay.
Mom.
It's Brie
Jeez.
Larson.
Oh my
I
God.
want to know. I want to know what Paul thinks about Last Jedi.
It was all over the place. You know, you introduce like seemingly, you know, interesting villain, Snoke. I want to find out more about him. No. He gets a lightsaber through his gut and apparently doesn't make it. Like unlike every other person that gets a lightsaber through the gut, like Darth Maul and now
Oh yeah.
Sabine and Ahsoka. It's like, are you're taking like a 20,000 Fahrenheit thing to the gut?
Oh yeah. She takes a blast to the gut
It's
with
okay.
a lightsaber, and she just brushes it off. Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's very similar to something that Will from the Critical Drinker touched on in his latest one of his latest videos. We were talking about nobody stays dead anymore, so it
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yes.
anything.
Yes. Palpatine
Cheap.
Mistakes.
back.
Yeah.
Why? You couldn't think of
Right?
a new villain?
Hey, Drew.
What's the line? Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, the crawl at the beginning of the third film, like
Well, but
death.
Oscar Isaac says it in the movie. He says somehow Palpatine
Yeah.
returned.
Yeah. The dead speak. That's how the crawl begins. The dead. Palpatine is just back. Doesn't matter why or how. He's just back because we wrote ourselves into a hole in the second film. So now,
I mean,
tried and true. We got to bring Palpatine back.
I don't feel like that's why 3 ended up being the way it was, because where do you go after 2? Like,
Right.
J.J. Abrams, say what you want about him, like he did not have very many options, so I can't fault him completely.
And Force
for it.
Awakens was like, it was an okay attempt to start a new trilogy.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. There a lot of people shit on it. I understand why they don't like it. It's a remake of A New Hope. I get it. But after the prequels, which I absolutely hated, and I stand by that, it was nice to see a Star Wars movie that felt real, was shot on sets, was shot on film again. You know, like a competent filmmaker was behind it. Not, you know, it had things going for it. It was trying to plant some seeds, and then we realized in the second one that there were no seeds. In fact,
Nope, there was no plan at all.
right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a trilogy, like look at like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, you got to plan this whole thing out like from the beginning.
Well, to be fair, though, about that one, like he wrote the whole book, and his publisher made him split it up into 3 books.
Right.
So, but yes, I mean, like yes, that's true. Well, I mean, you can even go back though. You can make the argument that you don't need a plan. Just whatever you do, though, if you don't have a plan, just don't make the next one shitty. Like you know, I always argue. I'm in the camp that I don't think that George Lucas really had a plan for the original 3. I think he had like a really rough outline. But I don't think that he knew that Luke and Leia were brother and sister, because if he did, then he's a fucking pervert, you know? Like, you know? So I think that he knew where he wanted some things to go, but I still think that he was improvising a lot of that as the movies went on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine. But just, again, don't make it shitty.
Or you can tell like 2 and 3 were written with the same idea in mind. Like,
Yeah.
like if the first one had bombed, okay, we would have never got a 2 or 3. But
Sure.
first one was hugely successful, so it's like, okay, how do I honor the first story, continue it, elevate it, and then wrap it up as a whole? And then he probably wrote 2 and 3 together, because then we got a complete story, and that's okay.
Yes.
Probably the best you were going to get for not having a trilogy planned out in the beginning, if that was the plan.
Yeah.
And
The
Chris
new one just.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, the new one, it's just like, okay, we're just going to hand the second film over to a new director and a new writer and a new everybody, and it had nothing to do with what was set up in the first one.
Yeah.
Like he was intentionally sabotaging it. That's what it felt like.
No strategy, no planning, nothing. You know, Chris in Jersey saying, "How can you guys even remember which one of these abominations was which?" Which, yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, because there were so many bad moments that you can visualize them so perfectly. Like that space Leia scene was from Last Jedi, and it's like
Luke drinking from the alien's tit.
the soy milk.
Yeah,
that is so ingrained in me that I of course I know exactly which movie that was from. You know. And wait, I see another comment here. The only good Disney Star Wars film was Rogue One. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah,
I would.
I don't know how anyone else feels about that. I actually liked Rogue One a lot.
No, I definitely agree with that as well.
The Solo story was
Solo's okay. It's not. I've rewatched it again because it's a
I
2018.
actually thought Solo was okay too.
It was
There
okay.
are 3 movies in my life that I started watching that I've never finished. Solo was one of them. As soon as that bullshit Kessel Run, which they just destroyed my imagination of what the Kessel Run was. As soon as that scene was over, and it shows, what's the name of that character? Empress Ness or whatever. The one, she takes off the helmet,
Nest,
and it's that like, you know, racially ambiguous.
Oh, that's
like,
the chick from Falcon and the...
Yeah, the one from Falcon Winter Soldier. I was
like
out.
her.
I stopped it. I didn't want to finish it after that point.
Because that's what they do. They got to fill in every gap of every person's story that ever existed in this universe.
and it's the expanded universe never happened. You've got like a book that you could adapt. You could do Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh my god,
Oh,
so
so
many,
much material
so
they
many
have to
cool
That was
work
the
things.
with.
biggest crime that Disney perpetrated on Star Wars, was not
Absolutely.
doing Heir to
Yep.
the Empire and following those stories, which were just laid out, a perfect continuation.
Everyone
Yeah.
liked them.
Everyone liked them.
Yeah.
They
And
already had
everyone
all
thought
this
they were gonna do
material. I
them.
don't understand what they were. They're like, oh no, we'll just come up with our own storyline.
Yeah.
Why?
And Lucas was like, okay, cheers now.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
it shows clearly that Disney completely lacks originality and always has.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Thanks.
they lack originality, and it just doesn't seem like they want to give the fans what the fans want. It's like they're on this vendetta against the fans. You know, like, oh, you like that? Well, fuck you. We're not going to do
Well,
that. We're going to subvert.
the Force is female now.
The Force is
Yeah.
female
Well,
now.
it can't be
Right,
it can't be male and female. It's just female. It's
Yeah.
by evidence of what we got with the new trilogy. With
Yeah, I mean, and you got hints
Rey.
of it in The Force Awakens where she just picks up a lightsaber and just goes after.
Kicks the shit out of Kylo Ren. First time
Really?
ever touching a lightsaber. It's like this guy has been living the Force since he was a child, and she's just like, no, I'm perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Then, like,
what the
what
Are you
kind of
kidding?
character arc can you have out of that?
Right. Well,
None.
I mean, you could defend that though from just that first film, like, oh wow, she's a badass. Why? You know, like why is
Right,
that? So
yeah.
in my mind, when I remember when the Force Awakens came out, a lot of people were saying kind of like what we're saying about Rey. I was kind of a defender back then though, because stupid me, I thought they probably had a plan. And then like when you were to complete the trilogy, you'd understand why she was the way she was. Now you can argue and say, oh, it's because she was a Palpatine all along, but that's not what it is.
That was
though.
not the plan in part 2.
It was not the plan in part 2. What ended up happening is just I'm whamming and I am supreme.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's plenty of examples. I harp on this on the channel all the time of really well-written female characters: Sarah Connor, Lara Croft, Ripley.
Ellen Ripley.
Ellen
Yeah,
Ripley.
I hate to keep bringing it up. I sound like a broken record, but those are well-written characters.
Yeah, Aliens is like probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and it stars a female as the lead in an action movie, and I've never had any problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't start automatically.
Sarah Connor too.
Oh, Sarah Connor. I love her.
Terminator 2. I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
it's like a great progression of where that character would go for the sequel, how she goes about becoming a badass, but not just because she could like beat the hell out of a guy bigger than her. No, like she uses like her intelligence to take out guys using like weapons and things. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, it
It's
fits into
how
the
you write
confines
a
of-
right.
yeah.
It's how you write a character like that.
Yeah.
You just don't get that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Chris in Jersey saying Gillian Anderson, Agent
Yeah.
Scully. Yeah, again.
There you go.
Loved
Yeah, there you go.
X-Files.
Yeah.
Agent Scully. Fantastic.
Well, I mean, the thing that great characters like that prove, and the fact that there were so many fans of those characters, it runs against the current narrative that people that scream at the fans for being unhappy with what's happening to the character. Oh, you're just misogynistic. You just and that's just such bullshit, because you can point to all these other great, wonderfully written, strong female characters that are the complete opposite of the ones we're given today, which are just so detestable. Like I just, it's so rare nowadays to have a character like a Sarah Connor
Oh yeah.
or a Ripley.
Yeah, you're totally right.
I mean, all this stuff is what it is. It's just people are complaining about it, and they're just hiding behind their bad writing and their bad storytelling by yelling racist.
Yeah,
well, because
you
that's-
don't like her because you're misogynist.
It's a
I
lazy
liked Ellen
argument.
Ripley.
Yeah, it's a lazy argument for lazy writing. That's all it is.
That's what it is.
And I don't know, like I have this theory that all the movies, the writing in them has very gradually degraded over the past, like, let's call it 15 years.
20.
Yeah, they'll call it 20, because I think like all the movie writers shifted to TV, but even then, you got these long, elongated stories that people want to tell more of, rather than be compact, be efficient, and do it in under 2 hours.
Well, yeah, I also think that it's just a case of, like the education system. Like these kids went to these, like, oh, I want to be a screenwriter, I want to be a filmmaker, so they go to school, and like the young kids go to these schools, they get indoctrinated there. and they're told to like they're feminism and like toxic masculinity, all this stuff. And so there just became a time where they just gradually got into the industry, and it just kind of spread, And then on top of that, now you've got like all these quotas and diversity hires. So
Yeah.
it's a mixture of like that and then like the diversity hires basically. And then with that, just it breeds incompetence.
Yeah, for sure. You have all these like, why not write? Okay, you want to have a black female character, write a good one. There's plenty of examples of great great race characters.
Storm from X-Men.
Vixen.
Yeah.
Vixen.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved her character in DC.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's like when Black Panther came out. Everyone's like, "Oh, the first Marvel Black," and it's like, did you guys not see Blade?
Right,
Back in
right.
1998?
Really
Exactly.
Which was a fucking great
Blade kicked
movie.
ass. So did Spawn. I mean, okay, you can say whatever you want about the quality of that film, but Spawn was made into a movie in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And,
that
like,
character's great, but that movie's a piece of shit.
whatever. But
yes.
great character. You got Spawn. You got Blade. Like, this is not the first time this has been done.
But not only that, when Blade came out, everyone loved it. There was zero talk about the race or anything.
Yep.
No
Blade was
one
excellent.
cared.
Because it
No
wasn't
one gave a
thing.
shit.
It wasn't a thing. We didn't pay attention to it.
Well, also, like 20, 30 years ago, if they did a race swap or a gender swap, it didn't feel like there was an agenda behind it. It does today.
Right. Yeah, well,
which
'cause
is why I
that's-
don't like them.
You're absolutely right. Like, so, oh, you don't like the race swaps because you're racist. No,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's because we know what you guys are doing.
Exactly.
We know how
Yes.
you guys think,
Yep.
and that's why you're doing
Yeah,
it.
the only reason you're doing it is for
Yes.
your agenda. You're not
Yes.
doing it because it serves the story,
Yeah.
or it serves the character. You're just doing it for the hell of it. It's like,
And then you get a character, which one of my favorite from the comics and the animated series, Bishop in X-Men, and then
oh yeah, great character.
with him, like nothing happens. With Star Wars, same thing. I want to find out more about Finn. No origin story.
I think he had the potential to be a great
they
character.
ruined Finn
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
hard.
he got fucked, seriously.
he had a great
did him
arc in
dirty.
the first movie. They gave him the exact same arc in the second film.
He didn't do anything in the second film.
No, he had the same arc of finding his courage in the second film. Like, he was a coward in the first film, running away from everything, and it's like, no, he found his bravery and, he did the right thing. And then it goes, he retreats back to what he was at the beginning of Force Awakens, and then has to find that again at the end of the film. That's not how an arc works
Yeah.
across a trilogy.
Yeah, and then he's just standing in the background in the third one.
Oh my God.
I mean, did anybody ever study the hero's journey? I mean,
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
of course. Yeah. No, Luke has the perfect hero's journey across a trilogy.
the first trilogy.
The first trilogy,
yes,
yes.
the
Yeah.
original trilogy.
The
He's
only
got
trilogy.
the perfect arc. He's a kid. He's learning his way. The second one, he learns more. He becomes cocky. He gets his ass kicked. The third one, he fulfills his destiny, and he wins the day. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
None of that exists in the new trilogy. None
And
of it.
they feel the need to destroy legacy characters like Luke, like Leia, like Han.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what you're saying, Bobby. It not only does it not exist anymore, but they're also actively destroying what came before
Yeah.
that.
Han, gone. Luke, you're just going to
Yes,
die
and
in a
just
stupid way.
in the most unceremonious ways possible.
So stupid.
And
And then
they
Leia,
want to
like,
deconstruct everything. You
Yes.
kept hearing stuff like, the beauty from the Beauty and the Beast. She was a hostage and blah blah blah. Nobody cares about love anymore.
No.
Get some good love stories. Why do you have to crap on it?
oh, we had a little Finn Rose action going on, but then at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, Rose is like, "Hey, can I come with you?" And Finn's like, "Get out of here! You're done. You're in this movie for 30 seconds. Goodbye." And now it's called retconning your previous film, just getting rid of her completely.
I mean, I'm actually surprised they actually did that. Like,
Yeah.
they actually kind of took some
Well, because
feedback.
J.J. Abrams came back in and was like, "What did you do to my trilogy?"
Yeah, well, but still, like, it's like one of those things where just the way they think about things. Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't like that character? Well,
We're
here's some
gonna
more.
double down
we're
on
gonna double
her.
down. Yeah.
She's gonna be the new hero in the whole film.
Yeah. So I'll give them a little bit of credit for sidelining her.
Sure,
I was
a positive
That
about
was-
Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, that whole film just reeked of course correction.
Yes.
That's all it was.
That's what I heard.
Course
Yeah,
correction.
and, bringing back Palpatine. I mean, that just is an eye roll. Really, like, okay, that guy had a complete story arc in the first 6 movies. Why? Like, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
They
It's
just
like-
they can't come up with new ideas.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of goes back to where this started with Ahsoka, bringing Anakin back. Well, of course, they brought him back for Kenobi, because
Right.
obviously he's Vader and that. But they brought him back for Ahsoka for that episode where she's like in the world between worlds, or this is like she's pulled into the Force, or whatever you want to call it. Like, they didn't really explain it. Just so they can have a Hayden Christensen cameo,
yeah.
even though he had his cameo in Kenobi.
And the cameo didn't make sense either. Like, it completely retconned his whole character arc.
Right,
Did he
because
not learn
he's
his lesson now, or
Well,
in the third film of the prequel trilogy, he's a mess. He's like all over the place. And in Ahsoka, like, I haven't gotten to this episode yet, but I have watched the scene, and he's like very calm, and he's different. He's not what he was in the prequel trilogy. So
Yeah,
I don't really
but
know what
to-
they're doing with that.
To be fair, though, I haven't watched it yet, but Ahsoka never saw him like that, though. She never saw him become
As Vader.
Yeah, like a psycho lunatic. So, like, I think, isn't that like kind of like a recollection of like how she remembered him, sort of?
I guess so, but so because I never watched the cartoons, I don't know if you guys watched any of the cartoons.
I watched, the Clone Wars was really good, and I really like the character of Ahsoka.
Yeah,
And-
I remember a lot of people liking it.
Yeah,
and liking
was
her
good.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and liking her
Good.
too. But in this, like, she's just like a board of wood.
Oh, that's so unfortunate, because I was really happy when I heard that they had cast the actress that they did, because I
well,
always
there
thought
you go.
she
She-
looked
she
like
was-
Ahsoka.
Right. She's a good actress, and they brought her in actually in, was it Boba Fett or Mandalorian?
Was one of the
Season 2
Mandalorian? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
was the
brought her
season-
in.
okay.
And she was like, okay, yeah, this is the first time she's ever been in live action, okay, whatever. But now, like, after watching some of Ahsoka, it's like she was just given the direction of, like, you are stoic, female, brave, strong,
Independent.
and you're just gonna, that's it. And she shows next to zero emotion
yeah. And
at all. And it's
Rosario
so
Dawson's
weird.
a good actress. She. I mean,
She's a good actress. I think she was directed that way. I don't think that
It's
that
the
was just
script
her,
and the direction.
It's the script and the direction. I don't think it was her choice to just play the character like that. Especially since Filoni directed those early episodes. I don't know how many he directed, but I know he directed some of them. That was just a choice, and it's like, okay, dude, like, sorry, I didn't watch the cartoon because I wasn't a child. Like, when they came out, it just wasn't something I was interested in. So you got to give me a little more. You got to give me a little more about this character. Like, I just don't know anything about her.
And
Except she was Anakin's Padawan, which didn't exist in the trilogy, in the prequel trilogy. So it was just totally made up
Right.
for the convenience of we're telling new stories. Like, that character didn't exist anywhere in the prequels.
Well, from what I
Or
understand
throughout
about her,
the entire original trilogy.
Yeah, nowhere,
We
nowhere
saw
in the
her in the
series.
Clone Wars, and then
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
They're,
she
they're
made it on the
fighting.
other
They're
side of
fighting
the
Vader and Palpatine, and she's nowhere to be found. It's like,
Yeah.
what? You're like a legendary Jedi. You're not out there helping Luke. You know Luke exists. Like,
She's
where the
met
hell
him.
are you? You've met him. Like, where the hell are you?
and this just all goes back to the problems of like what you were saying earlier, how you can't have like any untold story beats. Just kind of rest. Now you have to show everything.
Right, and then the problem with filling all these gaps in is that you're gonna have to break rules, and you're gonna make mistakes.
Well, we saw that early on, the first instance of them doing this, which was the prequel trilogy. There's so many inconsistencies in those, Now it's just gotten so unwieldy and out of control You know,
They don't
Now it
even
just
seem to
doesn't
be
matter.
trying anymore.
No, now they're not
Well,
trying
they don't
anymore.
have to
Any
try
show that comes
anymore.
out, it's like, oh, we just need this to make sense, so just make it make sense.
no, they don't. They don't have to
Like-
try anymore because Anakin shows up, member berry.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all that. That's all
it.
that people
That's
care
it.
about.
Remember
now.
the Clone
And
Wars?
It works.
Yeah, and nobody cared about the Clone Wars unless you were a child when you saw those films. Because unfortunately, we saw the prequels when we were what? When did the first one come out?
99.
99?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I
was
was
in high school,
18.
Well, I was an adult when I first started watching.
Oh yeah, Sin, what did you
because I
think
took
about the
well,
prequels?
so I took the Clone Wars came out in like what was it? Was it 2008 or something like the movie? Whatever. I took my kids to see it, and
Attack of the
that
Clones, I think, was 2002.
No, the Clone
No, it
Wars.
was
the Clone
was a
Wars, like
couple.
the
Oh,
3D animated, and so I went to go see it,
Oh,
and I
okay.
liked it. And then they had the show, so then my son and I every Friday we'd watch it on Cartoon Network, and I
That's
got to
great.
really enjoy it. So I basically watched it because my kids, but then I did enjoy it along the way, and it was a decently written show. But I was excited about Ahsoka, but now the stuff I'm hearing, I was just like, no, I lost interest. But then I stopped watching Mandalorian after season 1, so
Okay. So,
I
Sin,
haven't.
Sin, I have a
season 2.
question. I have a quick question about the Clone Wars show. Is Ahsoka like a block of wood in that
No,
show? Okay.
no,
All right.
no,
That's
she's
her
not.
personality. Okay.
Yeah,
She
that's
was she was a good. I think she was a well written character. She was a fan favorite. The movie is basically, or the movie and the shows are generally seem to be from her perspective, because this is kind of like about her journey.
right.
But I thought she was a good character. So
Did
that's
she
just.
have flaws in that show? Like, I mean, like, were there arcs? And I mean, just curious because I never watched the cartoon.
So
So,
it's been a bit since I saw it, but she did not come across to me as a Mary Sue.
okay.
That's what I've heard from multiple sources.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there are
I've
people,
only
there
heard
are
good
people that-
things about it.
Yeah, there are people that are kind of like aligned with our train of thought, the way we think about things, and they all seem to really like her from the Clone Wars. So,
Yeah, I remember liking her.
yeah.
Steve said she was also like 14 and not weathered by war and
Yeah,
death.
she was. That's true. She was young.
Okay. In Clone Wars.
In Clone Wars, which also leads straight into
Into Rebels.
the shows. I haven't watched Rebels,
Yeah.
but I think I've watched almost all of Clone Wars, maybe not the very, so there was the movie and then the series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe I haven't watched the last season or the last several episodes of the last season. The look of Rebels, it looked a bit, I don't know, childish. So I never watched Rebels.
Yeah. Well, this leads to another thing, which now they have, because they brought it in the cartoon, but I never watched it, was
The Bad Batch.
Thrawn. Thrawn.
Oh, Thrawn. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So now Thrawn becomes this big thing for Ahsoka. Now, I haven't gotten to this episode yet. However, I have watched scenes with him just to see what he was like. And I remember reading Heir to the Empire way back in the day. And this guy was like master genius tactician. He was like the next Palpatine. He was going to ruin everything. The way it seems they portray him in Ahsoka is just like, just such a poor portrayal of him. He looks horrible,
Yeah.
by the way. I mean, I know it's been years, like, since the events of, like, Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff took place, but the way he's portrayed in the books is after Return of the Jedi. He's supposed to come in and take over after Palpatine, and this is that time period. And he just did not seem like he was some supervillain at all.
There was one hint of it in the latest episode where they basically let Sabine go, and essentially they just want to kill her and the other guy, and we'll send like one group of stormtroopers after them, and I want to say it's like Balin Skull or one of the other characters was like, shouldn't we send like a few more? And he's like, no,
Nah.
we don't actually have that, capability because we got our asses kicked in Return of the Jedi. So I can't afford to give you more troops.
Right,
I don't
of
have.
course.
All right, and that's like a hint of like, okay, this guy is a decent enough tactician to be able to budget out his troops. So that I thought was very good. I enjoyed that little bit.
But isn't it, guys? Isn't it annoying that he's like even in the show? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he deserves his own movie.
Oh my God, no, he deserved a
but-
trilogy.
But it's not that though. It's not that. It's like, oh, cool! Like the Star Wars fans know who Thrawn is because of the books that were thrown out by
But
Disney.
no, now they know of it because of Clone Wars and Rebels and those shows.
Sure. Okay.
Because he comes in as a cartoon character.
Still though, like Disney was so like the first thing that they did, the first day they Lucas signed in blood the franchise over to Disney. The first thing that they do is get
threw it
rid
out.
of all of that stuff, and now it just seems to me like, oh, we're kind of fucking things up. So let's take some elements from the things that we know everyone liked,
Right, but now
but we'll do it shitty now.
they take Thrawn and they fully give that story over to the Ahsoka crew.
Yeah.
Instead of how it was written in the books
Yes.
with Luke and like that whole storyline.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
Yes.
But now it's like, well, okay, well, maybe we screwed up a little bit. We'll bring Thrawn in, but we're not going to bring it in the way you want. It's like,
Yeah.
I'd rather see them recast Luke, Leia, and Han with younger actors who fit the age group of when Return of the Jedi ended, and just continue that story. I don't care if they change actors. I mean, okay, you'll get used to it. There's a period of adjustment there, but I'd rather just see those competent stories told.
The movies are so effects heavy and CG heavy that just make like animated films, like really, really.
Or just do that.
Yeah, and then you can like take.
I thought what was the episode 1 was George Lucas saying, "Oh, look what I can do with a computer."
Right.
Yeah, with the pod racing scenes.
Oh my God. I don't know how you guys feel about the prequel trilogy.
I mean, it's not as bad as the sequel trilogy.
I mean, okay, so I think we're all old enough that we all saw the prequels when we were either late teens or early 20s,
Yep.
and I don't know. The people who have nostalgia for it now are like, oh, I loved Clone Wars, I loved the third one. I feel like they were all like 10 years old when they saw it.
Yeah,
Because that's the only way you can like those movies.
well, it's just there's that extra layer of having the sequel trilogy now, which I think make people look at the prequel trilogy with rose-colored glasses.
yeah, because at least
point.
those were stories told competently. There was an arc.
There was an arc.
There
yeah.
were character
Well,
arcs.
I wouldn't say they were told competently.
Well, okay, that's
but
fair.
there were
Fair.
competent story beats in it.
I
Though.
misspoke.
Yes.
I actually enjoyed 2 and 3.
I fucking
Looking
hate
back
2.
on it now,
It's probably the best.
it's definitely not as strong as it was when I first saw it, but I do enjoy them okay. Like I don't outright hate them like I do the sequel. Like I haven't watched the second and third of the sequel trilogy, but I hate them. I don't because I know I don't need to watch them to know I'm going to hate them. So
But you should see them.
no,
I really want you to see them.
I don't want to be miserable.
Oh, wait, here, Chris in Jersey. 3 wasn't bad. Okay. Why wasn't it bad?
Look,
Chris?
aside from 3, giving us all the great memes that it's given us, but it gave us the memes because of how shitty it was.
Yeah.
That's why. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen, Ahsoka. He's so terrible in those movies. Like, he's terrible.
I mean, he's not a good actor, but
I just feel like
He's not very good, no.
Everyone's kind of forgotten that. I have not. Like, I am
No, we still remember that they were
I am
shitty
still
prequels.
exactly where I think they're just as bad as the sequel trilogy, just for different reasons.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
those like the sequel trilogy just ruined Star Wars. Like it broke Star Wars, whereas the prequels it damaged like. When you watch New Hope and you listen to Obi-Wan talk about his friendship with Anakin, you had this like kind of picture in your mind how that looked, and then the prequels just took a shit all over that. It ruined that. It ruined like all the mystique, the magic that you didn't know about from the
Right, yeah, because they mentioned, like, he mentions the Clone Wars
Yeah,
in
like-
New Hope and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, what was that like? And now that we can see it, I don't care about it and I don't like it. I'd rather just imagine it the way Obi-Wan talked about it in New Hope.
Yeah.
It's, that's the thing. It just keeps going back to, oh, we got to fill in every little gap of every little person's story that ever
Yeah.
happened, that ever existed in this universe. There's no imagination anymore.
Right. And then my hope for the sequel trilogy was like they were going to break free from all of that. It's like, okay, cool. They're past all that stuff. All the gaps have been filled in. Now I can just kind of get on with the story.
And I would have preferred them actually not even involving Luke, Han, and Leia. Like,
I wanted them to, but
right,
after
but
like
they
what we
didn't do
saw,
it competently.
yeah.
Everyone was excited because it's like, oh, we're bringing back the OG. It's like, yeah, okay, but what are you going to do with them? You're just going to shit all over them.
I know it's been said many times before, but it is seriously such a disgrace that the three of them don't share a scene together, like ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They don't.
sure.
And that is such the
crime.
biggest wasted opportunity of all time.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the biggest.
I mean, I think all three of those characters were done wrong in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean,
They betrayed their characters.
You know, Han Solo, he used to be this like swashbuckling hero, you know, and then in A Force Awakens, he's kind of like a bumbling, doddering old fool.
Well,
And a deadbeat dad, a deadbeat husband.
Deadbeat dad. Yeah, you know, he's old at this point, so what are you going to do with the character? It's not like he's settled down. Okay, no, you got to have him out there still chasing the stars. But what does that look like when you're that age?
You can have, you know, the swan song for the aging hero. I mean, Top Gun Maverick did it pretty well.
Yes, it did.
Respect the original character. It's like, no, you know, you bring him back in because he has this expertise, you know, for one last ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really what they did, but it's, oh God, when they brought Luke back, it's like, oh my God, Luke Skywalker's coming back, and then they just turned him into a joke.
They turned him into a cuck. He's
He
like
was
the biggest cuck.
He was totally cuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like you're sitting there in the theater and saying, you're so lucky because you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't. I feel
You're
so
just
happy.
watching your childhood hero just
No, I get
dismantled
it.
in front of you, and
No,
it's like, what?
I can so I can identify with what you guys are talking about because I felt the same level of despair and anger when I saw Terminator Dark Fate. And when I saw Halloween Ends, you know, like
Yeah.
what they did with Michael Myers. Now, as scared of Michael Myers as I am, and I am legit like he still gives me nightmares
Yeah, he's the
because I was way
boogeyman.
too young when I saw it. But what they did with his character was just abominable. It was
No, he's living in a
terrible.
sewer, and
And
he
I
gets his
felt
ass kicked
angry.
by a scrawny kid.
Yeah, exactly. I felt I mentioned, I can't remember if I mentioned in my review. Okay, so I did a ranty review when I got home the day I saw it. Oh, out of the theater too, I think, and a review. Then I did a live stream discussion about it a few days later. Then I did a review with my son, who
Wow.
has made a few shorts from that because of how angry I got. And I mentioned during one of those things that I remember the night I saw it. So I woke up in the middle of the night. You know how you wake up in the middle of the night, whatever, go to the bathroom, take a drink of water, whatever. And I remember I was sad. And I was like, why am I sad? And it was like, well, it's because Michael, but why am I sad about Michael? Because I did want him to die. So I was like, but why? And then I was like, oh, it's because the way they treated his character, like absolute
It's the
crap.
way
I
they did
wanted
it.
he deserved something. They treated him like this little afterthought. And the stuff that they made his character do was just so retarded. And I was just, and it just
Yeah.
made me angry and sad because
Yeah,
like
the movie's
this
about
great,
Cunningham.
this great character that this iconic character, and they just crap all over him in that movie, and I
Because they
was
don't have
so angry.
originality to be able to come up with their own new character. That's essentially what writers these days do.
So I really liked Halloween 2018. I love that movie. Their
the best
original
of the three.
plan. Oh, it's one. I love it. I just pretend the other two don't exist. They had the original plan to do it all on that one night.
Yeah.
So they should have either stuck with that, or they should have just ended it at 2018.
Yeah.
I don't know if we lost him, or if he just turned his camera off.
Uh-oh.
But
Paul
Oh,
dipped out for a
hope
second.
hope
here.
he didn't lose internet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh-oh.
so no, I completely get where you guys are coming from.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he
now
says he has no
are you
connection.
super excited that he's doing now an Exorcist trilogy?
I'm so salty about what David Gordon Green did with the Halloween trilogy, especially because it started off so promising. I have bought a ticket for it, but I'm going in fully expecting to come home and rant about it. Now, I don't feel
Oh, it's
very
gonna be fucking terrible.
passionately
No,
about
yeah.
Exorcist,
Oh, I
but
can't
the
wait for that
trailer
review.
doesn't look good to me.
Oh, it looks terrible.
No,
I
it
mean,
looks-
like the first one is like one of my favorite. Like it's one of the greatest.
Oh, it's iconic.
Not even the greatest horror movies of all time. It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
And that trailer just turns it into a generic. You know, like
Yep.
there's like the Pope's Exorcist, the Exorcism of Emily,
Emily,
whatever,
yeah, all
whatever,
those movies,
all
yeah.
those fucking movies. It just looks like another one of those. Where the Exorcist should be like the gold standard of those movies.
It is, yeah, it
you
is
know?
the gold standard. And you look at this and it's like, oh, we're bringing Ellen Burstyn back. It's like, so what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so, like,
right. Exactly. What
She's
are you
not
gonna
like
do with
she's
her?
not one of
No,
the
no,
influential characters of the original film.
I've learned my lesson. Ooh, we're bringing Mark Hamill back. That means nothing but death and destruction.
Yeah,
so
right.
It usually
we got
doesn't
Paul
mean
back. We got Paul back.
good things. Yay, he's
We
Yeah,
gotta
back.
know,
sorry, it
we gotta
just
know what Paul
starts-
thinks about the new Exorcist trilogy coming.
So I really liked the Pope's Exorcist. I know it was kind of like.
Did you really?
I
With
did,
the- with,
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
look,
Russell
no
Crowe.
wokeness, ain't no
It actually wasn't
ideology,
terrible.
You
I
know,
saw it. It wasn't terrible. It was a little hokey.
Yeah,
A little
I
over
didn't
the top.
hate it, but I didn't love it either. So I
Yeah,
just
it was
kinda felt,
middle of the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
Russell
I
Crowe
saw
was
the
the
original.
standout.
I saw the original when I was like 5 years old. It's like my parents never limited my, watching experience in
Mhm.
any sort of way. So like, I feel like I've been desensitized to it all. I'll probably go see the Nun sequel, just for shits and giggles, because Halloween's coming up. I actually started watching some other Halloween movies just to get in the spirit of the season because I love the fall.
I've started
I'm always
too.
in the
Oh, yeah.
spirit of the season all
yeah.
year long.
October's right around the
I
corner.
just saw the Evil Dead, like the first one
Okay.
from like
The
19
original?
I just watched that last week myself.
It was. I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Wait, have you never seen it before?
No, never.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen 2?
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Oh, dude,
man,
dude,
Evil
2
Dead 2 is
is the
pinnacle.
best.
Like it's
Yeah.
peak Evil
2
Dead.
is so good. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
is awesome. I do like Army of Darkness, but
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
But 2
It's
is
not
just
really
great.
an Evil Dead movie.
Yeah,
It's the same universe, but it's like it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Paul,
was
you gotta watch Evil
out
Dead
what
too.
the whole like Bruce Campbell thing was all about.
Oh, so you missed the whole
I missed
Bruce
the memes,
Campbell
yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Oh man.
Watch 2. Like when you watch 2, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it.
Now I get it.
Like I
Yeah.
get it. You know.
Yeah.
2
And
is
then there was a
I've seen
show like
bits
it
of
took years, but the show Ash vs. Evil Dead it has the same feeling as the original movies.
Hey, Mike. How you doing? Sorry, I'm just
Oh
noticed
yeah,
Mike.
we got some.
Mike popped in. He said he was gonna
Oh,
check out the stream. Mike from Did You See That? I was on his stream earlier in the day.
Oh, nice. Hi, Mike.
He actually brought us all together because I was on a stream with Sin on his channel
Yeah,
a while ago. Yeah.
yeah. I
oh,
met
wait,
so many great
Halloween
people.
Ends felt like a rehash of Christine.
A shitty rehash.
Yeah.
Like they just took again. They take elements from better films, and try to mash them together, and it just ends up
Remember Barry?
shitting on the original, like the source material.
Remember Christine?
No, you know what? I want to bring something. Yes, I want to bring up a shot from. We mentioned this in our Halloween Ends review, but Sin, do you remember that shot in in Halloween Ends? It's that shitty wide shot, like when Corey goes into the sewer, and like Michael's just standing there, like, ooh, and then
to
like
take his mask.
he goes in there, and they start like tussling back and forth.
Yeah, the tussling. Yeah.
Oh
And then he
my
knocks
God.
them down, and then he takes the mask and
He
everything.
kicks Michael Myers'
Oh,
ass and
it's
takes
so
his
stupid.
mask.
And then
It was
Michael
so
Myers
stupid.
sits up like he does the sit up like he did in the first one. It's like, okay, you're not scary anymore because
Yeah.
a teenager just took your
Yeah,
mask.
this 5'6" teenager just bitched you.
Well, so So the thing is, I was not happy with Halloween Kills.
Oh,
And so
Okay.
I was like, okay, this might spell bad things for Halloween, the next movie. So then I was with Halloween Ends until the moment when Corey and Michael first meet, and I mentioned this in my reviews. They had this special soul gaze,
Oh
oh
and
my
yes,
God,
I was
yes.
yeah.
He
like,
transferred his
oh
toxic
He transfers his
masculinity.
no,
toxic masculinity
no,
into
no,
him.
he didn't transfer anything. He just saw that
He just
Corey
looked
had
at
the
him.
same darkness.
Yeah,
Okay,
Whatever.
same
and so
darkness.
he let him go. He let him go,
It's
and I was like,
so
"Oh,
stupid.
Like,
oh
why would
no, no,
Michael do?
no, no!
Why would Michael care?
This is not. I can't. I was like, this is so. This is not Michael Myers. Oh, and then
No.
it got worse. Then they do like a tag team kill. I was like,
Oh.
oh my god,
The
I
tag team.
can't, I can't.
This is what
so
this is what we
dumb.
mentioned in our review. Like, how did they coordinate that? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
like,
it was so
how
I'll
bad.
pick you up at 10 on
Yeah.
my
yeah,
my
just-
motorcycle.
Did Michael
We'll-
Myers just hop on his motorcycle and did they ride over there together? And like Michael's like, all right, I'm gonna go
Oh,
in
there were
first.
so many leaps and weird. Like at one point, I guess you were supposed to expect that Michael somehow followed Corey all the way across town. How did he know where to even find him?
Exactly.
I don't.
course.
It's just. Oh my god!
You
I
know,
feel
I mean-
my blood pressure going up, you guys.
Oh,
I get so
absolutely.
angry about it.
Kind of like I think the quote that we came up with after watching Halloween Ends was Halloween Ends is so bad that it makes us nostalgic for Halloween Kills.
Yeah, it made the
It
Halloween
almo-
Kills.
yeah.
It made us want to watch that.
And
It almost makes you feel like, well, Halloween Kills was a better movie, but it was still just
Oh, it's fucking
ridiculous.
terrible.
Well,
I can't.
it's terrible, but
there
at
was
least
too
we
many-
got like Michael
oh.
Myers.
We got Michael Myers, but we got Michael Myers doing not Michael Myers thing. Like Michael Myers has never killed people in mass before, ever. He has not. Remember when he walked out and he killed all of the firefighters, and they just waited around for him to kill them.
He turned
Then
into
they-
John Wick.
They all took their turn being killed. The same thing happened at the end with the mob. I was just like, what the?
I love when that firefighter takes the hose and like sprays him, but like
And he just walks right through
it's
it
just like a
nothing.
shitty spray. It's like not the full.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, well, and
texture.
there's no
Like it
way
would
in the
knock you
world.
down if you were. Yeah,
It was
stupid.
so fucking dumb.
It's just, oh gosh,
Oh.
you guys.
That's a terrible movie. Terrible. Like
It was so bad.
that movie was so bad, but at least in some regards, it still takes place like on Halloween. The whole movie.
Yeah.
It feels like
It does follow the same narrative from the first one.
But I'm not giving it any excuse. It's a terrible movie. Like it is
Yeah.
so bad. I couldn't believe how bad it was when I saw it. But Halloween Ends is worse.
Oh, it's definitely worse. I was kinder to Kills initially, but then upon rewatches, I was like, no, it's really. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I was kinder to it. But then when Ends came along,
How long before a reboot entirely, starring Rachel Zegler of all people?
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
we're gonna get another reboot at some point. It's coming. What is that?
yeah,
gonna be,
of
like, the
course
fifth
it's
reboot?
of course it's coming.
I do think they're going to take a bit, though. I think that they're going to take like
Take a
3 or
breather.
4 years off
Yeah.
before they do another one.
And then they'll bring in Rachel Zegler as Laurie Strode's
I'm out if they do that.
great granddaughter or something. Who knows at this point?
Not interested.
They should have
Not
done
interesting.
what they were gonna like. This is controversial what I'm about to say. I understand this, but just hear me out.
We love controversy here on this.
This is what they should have done. What they were gonna do with like Halloween 3 season of the witch.
The
Just, like,
anthology.
the anthology. Each Halloween you come out with a new Halloween movie,
Yes.
but it's like a different story.
That is
agree.
a bold claim.
Yes,
I agree.
I mean, if you okay, I don't even mean necessarily doing that back then, but I mean now. Like let's
Yeah.
do that now. This
Yeah.
is the good opportunity
yeah.
to do that now.
It's perfect time. It's been played out. Let's try something
Absolutely.
different.
And Myers is definitively dead now, so just
Yep.
doing another thing, you know.
No, I agree. That was, of course, as we, that was the original plan. It didn't go over well because Michael Myers was such a hit. But I see people on Twitter. So there was like this huge Twitter war between people that didn't like Halloween Ends and people who thought it was the greatest thing or better than the original. And they were like, yeah, I kid you not. I
don't
was
know how
kind
you
of in the
defend
middle
that
of
film.
that sort of thing. And people were like, well, everybody hated Halloween 3 when it came out, but I think people are going to learn to love Halloween Ends. No, those two are not even comparable. Halloween
Absolutely
3
not.
is actually a decent horror movie.
I like Halloween 3.
Yeah,
I like it.
Good. It's solid.
It's a
This
solid
one is
Halloween
not.
film.
And the reason they disliked Halloween 3 was quite different from the reason people hated Halloween Ends.
The reason why they didn't like Halloween 3 is because the internet didn't exist back then. And so you didn't know that like Nowadays we have the internet, so the internet can ease you into things. Like you have like Ben Affleck as Batman, then you've got this Robert Pattinson thing, and then it's like, but the internet's there to be like, oh no, they're two separate worlds. Like it gives you the context for you to understand. Whereas back then, you read things in newspapers and magazines, and then it didn't have like the depth, it was the rumors were more controlled back then. You didn't hear all these industry inside information. So you would see a film and like it just has the name Halloween, so you assume that Michael Myers is
Well, a
going to
lot
be
of
in
people
it.
did assume Michael Myers was going to be in
Exactly.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Well, he
it's-
was in it. He was on a TV screen.
That's
Just-
right.
yeah, a
That's
replay.
you saw the
5 seconds.
TV trailer for Halloween.
Exactly.
Watch out, because the remakes are coming. It's only a matter of time before they remake Star Wars, they remake the MCU.
Paul, do you think they're going to remake the original trilogy?
I think so. Yeah.
You think they're going to
Really?
go that route?
Yeah, with gender swaps and race
Oh, well,
swaps and everything. But you're gonna have black Luke Skywalker.
Or no, black female Luke Skywalker.
Right. Yep. And
We'll have
sexual genderqueer Luke
Hot
Skywalker.
baby.
she
Yeah.
will be in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's I mean the state of the industry is just incredibly bad.
It's
And
creatively bankrupt.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
the writer's strike kind of does a hard reset, but I don't think these people can learn the lessons of their mistakes. I don't think they're cognizant of what they did.
No, because in their minds, they're doing everything right. They're the ones being wronged by the fans.
Yeah, because the fans are toxic. There's
Yeah.
toxic fans. Anytime fans point out glaring issues with a thing, the fans are
How
toxic.
dare you?
They never self-analyze.
Has
Yeah.
there been any update on the writer's strike? Is it
They
it's
went
still
back to
just
the
going
table.
strong?
They went back to the table, but I think so. There was a big issue with Drew Barrymore and Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because they tried to bring their shows back.
And
Yeah.
that's essentially, I mean,
for them.
with Bill Maher especially, I think it was, they went to go start trying to book guests, and people
Mhm.
were like, nah, man, like, I'm trying to stay out of this. And then he had to go back on his word. I think that's what happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand. Like, okay, yeah, the writers are striking. You're shutting down everybody. It's not
Yeah.
just the writers.
Yeah.
It's
All the
it's-
below-the-line
It's the grip.
people.
It's the
Yeah.
electricians. It's
Yeah.
the camera people. You're putting everybody out of work.
Yeah.
So figure it out.
Yeah, and that's what Bill Maher even said in his press statement when he announced that he was starting the show up again. It's like, I mean, this is all, of course, just language to give him an excuse to, start a show again. But he
Yeah.
did mention in there that he was thinking about like the camera guys and like all those dudes. And
Yeah.
so
Is
they're
their
the-
union taking care of them? Like
yeah, like they're
the
the
way
ones that are getting
the SAG
royally
actors are?
screwed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I live in New York, and I walk through movie sets like almost not in the past few months, because obviously everything's shut down. But it's incredible how many people are employed. Like in New York, they have this big production company called Haddad's that handle
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
all
the
the
trucks.
logistics of everything. But just like walking through, I mean, they film stuff in my neighborhood all the time. And it's just like you have the cable girl and like the production assistant, all these like assistants running around, like all this equipment that I've never seen before in my life. Like it's not something
All out of work.
actually see at B&H, photo video. And it's you're putting all those people, and they don't make that much. Maybe they make 30 or 40 grand, which is like barely above minimum wage.
No, they don't make that much. And you know what? They bust their ass harder than any of those people that are striking right now. I'm sorry, they
No,
do.
no. Rachel Zegler.
Oh, yeah.
She suffered so much in that
Right,
princess
right.
outfit.
No,
She,
an
right, she can't
actor's-
go a second
an
without
actor's
that
day
dress
is.
on.
Oh, you
without
guys
getting
aren't ready
paid.
for me? You guys aren't ready for me? Okay, I'm gonna go sit over there for
okay.
20 minutes. Oh, you guys need me? Okay.
The actor strike is a whole different beast because, like,
Sure.
on one side, like, I do understand, like, okay, you're gonna film me and then you're gonna use me in perpetuity, like, to just like recreate me and put me in any movie. Like, no, okay, no, that stuff I understand.
Well, if their
But, like,
arguments, if their concerns stopped there, okay.
yes, if that was it, but that's not. It's never it.
Right, of course not.
It-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I mean, eventually they're gonna have to come to an end, but maybe a whole new industry will
Well, no, you've got
rise
two
in-
things that can come out of it. A whole new industry can potentially rise up, which would
Yeah.
be fantastic. And also, this just gives people, if there's no new shit coming out, this just gives people to like go back and
Time
watch.
to go watch some
Yeah.
quality
watch
some
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Watch things
exactly.
that actually matter and things that were
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine recommended I watch the Philadelphia Story, not the Tom Hanks one with Denzel
Yeah, the
Washington,
old one.
the one from the 1940s, and I'm like, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and I'm like, just the way that these people like carry themselves and behave. Like women are all nice, prim and proper, and
Mhm.
like the dudes are all wearing suits, like straight out of Mad Men.
Different
But like
times.
you
Different time.
have a shit ton of innuendo, which actually makes it better than just explicitly saying, "Hey, you want to go fuck?" Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where it's like, "Oh
Right, because it's
yeah,
clever.
went to
Because
her
it's good
room."
writing.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, see, I mean, I come from it that there should be like everything is nowadays. There's just like nothing left to the imagination, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not to say that we shouldn't have things that are like that. I think that we should, but not everything should be that. And like there's just zero balance now. It's just like
It's the
Hollywood's.
TikTok generation. They don't have the attention span, to be able to not for any nuance or
No, they exactly.
lack of
And
details.
well, you have that, and then on top of like, oh, there's also an agenda we have to push.
Yep.
Right. And I mean, I
That's
think
not woven into the story properly.
Right.
that's backfiring on all of them.
Yeah.
Even BlackRock itself went back on, although they did rebrand the whole ESG thing, so it's not fully going away. But like, if you check the returns on like ESG mutual funds, they always underperform the market. So it's like people are like, why the hell are we investing in this shit?
Right.
And so I think there's going to be backlash. I mean, in one of my videos, I called for, hey, buy a share of Disney, so you're able to attend the shareholder meeting
Shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, yo,
Ask a question.
no, I'm not even ask a question. Pull the whole, Michael Douglas in Wall Street and be like, no, man, like we're gonna reshape everybody here. First off, Kathleen Kennedy gone. You're fired. Bob Iger, get the fuck out of here. And install people with a brain. Bob Chapek was trying to right the ship, and then they're like, nope. The activists win.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really seem like there's going to be an end to it anytime soon.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that the tide's changing, but I don't know. Like,
Still waiting.
I think that all of us, we like people, we watch, we read people that think similarly to us, and I worry. You always hear this talk about, oh, the tide's changing, and I hope that's true. But we are kind of. I fear that we're kind of insulated in kind of like an echo chamber sometimes.
100%. Yeah.
And so I do. It's hard to believe that there are people out there that like Halloween Ends, but there are people out there that like Halloween
Yeah.
Ends.
And
True.
we interacted with a lot of them in our comment section. When
Yeah.
we put that video out.
It's so like I don't know. It's tough. I do hope that it is. I think that we have gotten to a point where it's not really opinion anymore that the media that we're being fed sucks. Like it's like factually just it sucks. It's not like it's objective. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get my news from YouTube, just because Fox, CNN. But all right, Bloomberg's all right. I'll call out Bloomberg. Bloomberg's a-okay with me. But the rest of it, it's heavily
Garbage.
editorialized.
Yeah.
It's you can't really trust it, and then that's why you get channels like the Young Turks, Breaking Points, Kyle Kalinske, Ben Shapiro, everybody, the
Yeah.
Daily Wire, and they're kicking the legacy media's ass. Joe Rogan averages 11 million people listening to every podcast. And then, you have videos, let's say I brought up Breaking Points. you have the chick on there is the liberal, the guy's the conservative. It's sort of like the old crossfire, and they're getting 600,000 views a video. Whereas, like, what's the average, night at CNN? Like, I don't think they break half a million
They
views.
just had their lowest demographic ratings ever. I think just a couple days ago, there was an article about it, like
hilarious.
ever in their key demo, like the lowest ever. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's and then that's the proliferation of channels like ours. People actually want to hear, honest opinions from regular old folks like
Mm.
me or you guys, because clearly the reviews are doctored, especially on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes, they do some shady stuff, especially with the
Okay.
audience scores as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you notice what was it? Was it the last Star Wars one that the score stayed at a certain number, like 86 or something, or 88 throughout the entirety, like the last Star Wars? I was like, that is not even statistically possible.
For Rise of Skywalker?
I think it was for the last one. I believe so. And I was like, there is no way. There's no way.
You telling me the audience score for Rise of Skywalker would hit 88%?
I thought
Well-
it did. I'll check, but I remember
No,
it
this-
stayed
this
the
is what-
same.
This is
It
what
didn't
happens.
change.
This is what happens. Like if there's like a bunch of negative reviews that come in,
Yeah, they do something. They do
they just
something.
say, "Oh, we're being review bombed." But then there's
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
but-
review
but,
bombed.
yeah, the
Okay.
dumb fucking lefty term, review bomb, like
Right.
Orwellian
Okay,
shit.
so you're just saying certain people's reviews don't count?
No, but then on top of that, if there's like a wave of positive reviews that come in,
that's fine.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
problem.
No,
you
no,
know?
yeah.
Now the Rotten Tomatoes thing, that whole thing started with Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
that was
86.
ground zero.
Yes.
It is still stuck at 86, The Rise of Skywalker. It has been stuck at
Okay.
86
Nobody likes that
since
movie.
the
That
beginning.
is insane.
That
Yeah.
movie's objectively terrible.
Yeah.
Fuck that
No, I
movie.
know. But see, now let's say, hold on. Let me go look at all audience. Okay, when you look at all, so they've also broken it down by verified audience and all audience. All audience still gives it 75. So, but no, yeah, the whole thing started with Captain Marvel, where they started doing some
yeah.
really weird stuff with their algorithm or whatever. They're doing something. Same thing
Well,
like
yeah.
with Little Mermaid. I think the audience score is up in the low to mid 90s. The
Yeah, I mean,
latest Little Mermaid. I'm
Everyone
like,
I've talked to
no.
who's seen that, it was like, yeah, it was okay.
Which means it sucked.
We're like,
I
who's
mean, I
doing
actually
that?
snuck in to see it, and I'm like halfway through. I'm like, I can't take this shit anymore. Like,
I decided years ago when the whole casting thing happened. I was like, yeah, I know what they're doing.
right.
I'm not going to go watch this movie because
Same.
I saw a lot of stupid crap going on and being said about it, and that really turned me off. Like I said, 20, 30 years ago, maybe it would have hardly caused a ripple because it wouldn't
Right,
have
yeah.
felt like there was anything at play, but now it does. And so I was like, yep, nope, I'm not
Do you
gonna go watch it.
remember when, speaking of like live action remakes of Disney, do you remember when Brandy was in Cinderella?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a long time ago, yeah.
And I remember, that was a very long time ago, and I remember
Yep.
seeing that happen, like, huh, she's black. And then, like, I just never thought about it again.
Well, but it
Like,
also
it
was
wa-
like it was like also one of those, wasn't like a Disney Channel exclusive.
Yeah, it was something, I don't
wasn't-
remember
yeah.
what it was, but, like, it's not like this is a new thing.
Right. It just wasn't agenda driven back then.
It just felt like, okay,
Yeah.
no, we're going to put her in this role because she's, like,
kind of popular
she's
right now.
popular right now.
Right.
So we're going to put her in this role. That's what it felt like then. Now it's just like, no, it's 100% like
Well,
you have an agenda.
Yeah, kind of like what we were saying earlier about just like we understand how they're thinking, that's what bothers us. But also what it is when they do that, you know how they're thinking, and you also understand because they're the kind of people that think that way, the incompetence is going to follow. So you just know that those kinds of people that value those things first and foremost, the storytelling and all that stuff
all
is
second.
it's all second. And so you know going into it, you're just watching a piece of content because it's agenda driven and they're just trying to like generate hate clicks essentially.
I mean,
you know?
watch the new product before the next product.
Yeah, consume next product. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And again, it's content creation. It's not art anymore.
Right.
I mean, so we're content creators, so I get
Yeah, but we're not claiming like we're at the forefront of creating cinematic milestones or masterpieces. We're not claiming that we're doing that, you know. But yeah, I don't know if you guys read recently Denis Villeneuve. Is that how you say his name?
Denis Villeneuve.
That guy,
Something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, him.
Him and Paul Thomas Anderson, they both just were praising Oppenheimer. And they both mentioned, Denny said that he hates the word content. You know what I mean? Because of like the implication that comes with content. Like you're seeing
it's not art.
It's just disposable, one thing after the other. You know, nothing is art anymore. And yeah, he's absolutely right. You know, and he's one of the few directors that is a competent filmmaker and, you know, kind of gets to do what he wants to do. Like everything, for the most part, is like kind of like Nolan. I think Nolan's movies are fairly agenda free. You know what I mean? Like they still make movies for everyone.
The physics of time.
What a concept. Yeah.
But I mean, Scorsese said the same thing about the MCU, like that they're just throwaway movies, you know.
They are.
And I mean, after Endgame, where do you
I checked out.
go? I think like, you know, I know the Critical Drinker called it, hey, this is the death of the superhero movie. Yeah, we're gonna get a few blockbusters here and there, but it ain't gonna be like phase 1, phase 2.
Well, yeah.
No,
Endgame was
felt
the
same
conclusion
way.
of the MCU.
That was the peak.
Yeah.
I've always called Endgame the peak, and I knew that we might have a few bright spots here and there, but that it was going to be in decline after that. I just felt it in my bones.
Oh, I feel like it was starting to fall apart even before that.
Even
you
before,
know? Like everyone's got the MCU in the beginning. Yeah, like there were good movies in there, but there were also a lot of bad ones
some
too.
duds in
Like
there
there's some
too,
shitty
yeah.
ones, you know. But you know, of course, Iron Man 1 is fantastic, and then you've got like Winter Soldier, fantastic. But there's some great movies in there, but a lot of them were just very mediocre, and some of them were just bad. You know, they were bad for different reasons though. Like they were bad the way movies 10 years ago were bad, not for the reasons why movies are shit now. You know what I mean? Right. So I guess it's got that going for it. Yeah. But still, I do think that even before Endgame, it kind of started losing some steam.
Yeah. I mean, Blue Beetle, that went straight to
well, now we're getting outside the MCU.
Yeah, definitely outside.
I
mean, we're kind of getting at
DC as a whole.
Like Blue Beetle was DC's first Marvel movie. That's what it
was.
It was
a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like, and it was. That's a movie that would have done really well, like 6 years ago,
exactly.
5 years ago.
Sure.
Yep.
That it's just now it was so generic to the point where it was like we've seen all of this.
Yeah.
This is what you're putting out now, and we're at this weird time where we're switching from the Snyder DC world to the
James Gunn universe.
The James Gunn universe, and Blue Beetle is kind of caught in the middle where it's like, well, we might keep the character, but this movie is probably still part of the old.
Yeah, they're like intentionally keeping it vague, just so if it's successful, then they can claim victory and say, "Oh yeah, Blue Beetle's definitely part of the new regime."
I think it made its money back. I think it wasn't like a blowout success, but it was successful enough. But
well, it was originally supposed to be a streaming film.
Yeah, it was supposed to be
it was supposed to be like HBO.
So,
and then,
it wasn't even as expensive as some of the others. I mean, I enjoyed. There were things about it that bothered me in general. I enjoyed it. I think maybe a lot of it was also because of the family unit. And a lot of the cultural references, I completely got because my husband's Mexican, so I recognize some of the main actors there.
Does her husband think that Batman's a fascist?
Oh my gosh, that part was so stupid. Yeah, but I point out, in my review, the things that I had a problem with. Even like I didn't hate it, like I hated Captain Marvel. I wasn't super in love with it, but I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. But it's a shame some of the dumb stuff they did with it, and some of the very clear agenda messaging stuff that went on in there.
Which I told Mary Sue clearly.
Well, like every white person is evil.
Oh yeah, all of that was so obvious. It was so cringe.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I
I
didn't
mean,
like
like the
that.
story itself, it was just like we've seen this before.
Yeah.
It wasn't
They brought
like
nothing new to the table.
yeah, they brought nothing new, but it wasn't like it was like a bad story. It's just like we've just seen it before, you know.
Yeah,
So it was just
I've seen worse. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, but it's still just
And they
okay.
have so much to draw from. From the comics, my favorite villain is Apocalypse. And I'm sorry, his on-screen representation, yeah, that was terrible, X-Men Apocalypse. But you could totally do something, like Age of Apocalypse, and like do a whole like a phase of movies in that universe.
Yeah.
But I think like Disney especially just started gorging on everything like a pig in a trough. Like they didn't have the patience, or I guess they were greedy, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna put out like four movies a year, one a quarter, and then we're gonna have four TV shows. So it's like you're constantly bombarded with all this stuff.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
And
screwed
the
up with
audience
the
is great.
shows because now you have to watch all these shows to keep up with the storylines. Whereas before, I mean, okay, there were a couple Marvel shows on Netflix. You had Daredevil, you had the Defenders thing, all that. But like that was kind of its own universe, which was
Yes.
great. Like you didn't have to watch that to understand the movies, and you didn't have to watch the movies to understand the shows. Like there were a couple little
Well, that's just it.
crossovers.
If you watch them, there might be some little bonus things that you can
Yes,
kind of
like
go,
they
oh,
mentioned, like,
cool.
oh, the events in New York,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
supposed to reference the Avengers
Yeah.
film that they talk
Yeah.
about in
Yeah.
Daredevil. Like those are great little crossovers, but they told their own stories in their own world, even though they were technically the same universe. Now the Marvel shows, especially with the whole thing they're doing with Kang now. Like you
Yeah.
had to have seen like the end of Loki to start to understand Kang, and then he pops up in
Ant-Man 3.
Ant-Man
Ant-Man.
3, and then you've got like the other show now, like Loki season 2's back. It's like they're going to bring it in. It's like I can't.
But the problem is
can't
the
keep up with
shows
all of
aren't
it.
so like I lost interest in Loki. I never finished Loki. I heard that Kane came out. I didn't like Loki.
He was in the last episode.
I heard, and but I didn't care enough about Loki to finish. I hated female Loki. She was annoying as hell. And it's like, why do they make all these characters so and I did not like Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, that was the
Oh,
worst.
that
That was the
was
worst of
awful.
them.
You need to do better.
Oh my
man.
gosh,
Oh
that was
man.
so
They
it was
just
like, oh.
Winter Soldier had absolutely nothing to do, and he's like, "Well, I'm just going to tag along with Falcon for this rest of the show." It's
I
like,
was
what
looking
the
forward
hell?
to it initially. It looked like it could be
Oh,
good,
and
but
Winter
then it's like,
Soldier was
no.
my favorite Marvel movie, and
That
they
is
just
my favorite MCU movie of all time.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so solid.
Such a good movie.
It's up there for me, not my favorite. But
Well,
it's
I
up
know
there.
you love Iron Man 1 is your favorite.
Iron Man 1 is so
I think so.
good.
Yeah.
Iron Man 1's
Iron Man
good.
1 is a very, very good film.
Yeah, but those shows, they're just like I don't know if you guys saw WandaVision. I actually enjoyed that one
I enjoyed that until the last episode.
Yeah.
until
I didn't like the
Agatha
last
came in and just
Yeah, it was too
took
much
credit for
flying in
everything.
the sky and all that. And I wasn't crazy about Hawkeye either.
Yeah, that was another one. It's like
That chick was annoying as well. I did not care for her. I don't really care for the actors,
Oh,
but
again,
her character was just like
Belova.
A show called Hawkeye, and he's like
he takes backstage.
backstage in his own show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing now. There's too many shows. There's like the storylines are interweaving in too many ways.
It's quantity over quality with
Yeah.
them.
Well, and then,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, to add an extra layer, you have all these things that are extremely unpopular in the comic books, like Riri Williams, female Thor, all these things that are like hated by fans, like hardcore fans. But now they're making movies around these characters, and
And
these,
they act like they're fan favorites.
yeah, exactly. Whereas, like, yes, they did the Infinity Stone story, but there are still things from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s that should be done that are just waiting for a good cinematic story to be told. But now they're wasting time on these new fucking things.
Replacing every character.
Yeah, but like,
with
but
a
that
female
stuff,
counterpart.
is so, as much as like the comic book industry, like the like they're trying to push these characters and convince us that everyone likes this stuff. No one does. But now it's spilled over into the movie world, and now the movies are doing those characters, and no one gives a shit about those characters. Riri Williams was horrible in Black Panther 2, awful. I did not want
That's
to.
Ironheart, right?
Yeah,
character?
yeah, she
Oh,
was
I didn't
basically-
care for her.
Oh,
She was another super genius who showed up, and it's like, we already have one. Shuri's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Why
Yeah,
do we need another
right,
super? Like,
exactly.
and
Pointless.
yeah, it was pointless. And Black Panther 2 was a terrible situation to be put in because of Chadwick Boseman. So like, no matter what they did was going to be like,
Yeah, we mentioned this in our
criticized, and we
review.
did a
Yeah.
review on it back when it came out, and it was just there's no winning in that situation. But then of course what they chose to do was like, why? Like they kill him off screen and like he just dies from some disease, and then they just elevate the sister to the role even though she wasn't ready. The character hadn't earned it yet, but they're like, well, this is what we're gonna do, and they put her in there. They bring Riri in, and it was just it just didn't feel right.
Cast.
They should have recast him.
Yeah, and like it's not like superheroes haven't been recast before.
It's happened all the time.
I mean, he's a little bigger, but at the same time, I think the character is too important to just get rid of and not recast.
Yes, yes, he is.
Oh, I personally did not want him to be recast, so
I
I
see
was
the
happy
argument.
with that decision.
Yeah.
I see the argument either way, but I'm also with them. Like I wish they just recast him because he's just too. If you think about the Black Panther legacy now in the MCU, he was only Black Panther for
One movie.
two movies. Like
Yeah.
you know, there's so many other stories you could have done with T'Challa, but now we're never going to see them.
It undermined their original plan. So they had to completely change the story. Like what we got
He
for
was
Black Panther 2.
He was Black Panther for
Three
4
movies.
movies.
Oh, well, okay. If you count
The two
like his
Avengers.
appearances in
But I mean,
Avengers.
The
I mean, like-
Avengers, Civil War, and Black Panther.
Civil
Yeah.
War was like his introduction. He was
He
fantastic
was great
in
in
that.
that, yeah.
And then his Black Panther. Those were his two big ones. And then he popped up
in Avengers.
in Avengers.
Infinity War. And
Yeah. But they had a plan to continue his story, and they had to scrap it because the actor died.
Well, they
So-
had a plan to continue his story and also fit his story into the other films. You know what I mean?
Right,
They had like a
right,
roadmap
yes.
for all of that, and then
I mean, I'm
So
sad I'm not going to get to see him get it on with Storm.
yeah, seriously.
yeah, and that's another thing. Like now, as they start bringing in X-Men,
However the hell they're going to do
however
that.
they're going to do it, I mean, it does open up a whole new avenue. Even though Fox has been doing these movies for years and telling these stories, like you got Professor X made a cameo in
Doctor Strange too.
in the second Doctor Strange film, which was like that was another one.
Multiverse of no
Okay.
madness.
What was that?
The multiverse of no madness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That one.
They did Reed Richards wrong in that movie.
Oh, they did everybody
yeah.
wrong in that
Oh,
movie.
yeah, that was-
I did actually like Scarlet Witch in that movie. I thought that was a cool way to take her character after what they did with her in WandaVision, and it may turn her into a villain.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that, but the rest of the movie, I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's the decline is there since whatever 2018 or 2019.
2019.
2019.
Is that when Endgame came out?
Yeah.
I mean, they should have just used the pandemic to just, hey, like we're not going to do anything for like 4 years. Let the audience breathe, and then
Reset. Yep.
you know. But they just kept going, and they're clearly these movies are just not making money. You know, it costs $300 million to do it, so that means that it costs another $300 million to market the thing. So you're in the hole for $600 million. So this thing needs to cross at least $800 million just to break even.
$1 billion to be profitable, be worth it.
So it's not a viable business decision. Are they learning their lesson? I don't think so, because now we're going to be getting video game movie adaptations.
Well, yes. Now, our most recent was
Gran Turismo,
which
I saw that.
was actually pretty decent.
That was decent. Yeah.
And you know why? It's not a video game.
Well, it's not a
Right.
video game
Yeah.
adaptation.
It's a simulator.
Yeah.
Well, it's a simulator. It's
Well,
based on a true story about a
yeah.
guy who played the
Right.
game, which
Oh, okay.
allows you to
Yes.
tell a good story.
Right.
other than what you get from the simulator. But that was actually a decent one.
But that was actually a kind of a good approach to do that particular game. You know what I mean? Like you can, because of the nature of that game, you could like tell a true story. You know what I mean? Because it's just a simulator. So
I mean, I can't wait until they start ruining Final Fantasy.
Well, that's
Well, Final
okay.
Fantasy ruined itself. So,
Well, I mean, honestly, as cool as it would be to see like a Final Fantasy VII film, like that would be awesome. But you kind of don't want them to do it because they'll fuck it up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when they came out with what was it, the Spirits Within?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And I was like so excited, and I was like, what is this? This has nothing. What does this have to do with Final Fantasy?
Okay, so if you were to divorce the name from it, how do you feel about it in terms of it being a sci-fi movie?
Not bad.
Okay.
It's when you put the name Final Fantasy on it, it's like, well, then I'm expecting a certain type of experience.
The weirdest thing about that movie is the Alec Baldwin voice character looks like Ben Affleck, but Alec Baldwin's voice comes out of him, so it's so bizarre.
James Woods.
Oh yeah, he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy. Yeah. But in terms of modern video game movies, I know we have what's that one? Five Nights at Freddy or something?
Five Nights at Freddy, yeah.
They're gonna fuck that up.
That's coming. I mean, I don't even know what are you basing that on? You're just in a room and you just have to.
Well, I'm actually looking
electricity
forward
on
to
and
that
off.
one.
I mean,
I've never played the game, so.
Well, you should play it.
It's a
'cause
horror movie, so
the
I'm looking
game
forward to it.
is so basic. I don't know what they're going to do for the movie.
I mean, like you say, I haven't played the game, but the problem, and that's the problem with these video game adaptations, is they make them so it's like you don't have to see, like, you don't have to have played the game. You know what I mean? That's a problem. Like, and I'm not saying that you should have to play the game to like get the gist of the movie, but I think that with video game adaptations, even more so than like for the past few years, at least for the most part, when you're making a comic book movie, the filmmakers are, in some cases, trying to, they strive to use the source material, go with the source material. They understand like what the fans like, and that's what makes a successful comic book adaptation. Is like basically you don't piss off the fans. Whereas video game movies, studios just look at them like, oh, it's a dumb video game. Like it doesn't matter what we do with it. We'll just sell it because of the name, and then people will go see it because they like that dumb video game. Which is very unfortunate. Like the thing with video game adaptations is like the past couple years we've had a couple decent ones. Gran Turismo, Mario wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Uncharted, I thought was okay.
Which one?
Uncharted. They miscast Nathan.
Well, I thought that was a total miscast situation.
But like what I'm we'll get back to all that stuff. But what I'm saying is, they haven't had a video game adaptation hasn't had like a Batman Begins type movie or a Sin City type of movie where one comes along and it does so much of the source material justice that like it forces other studios that own these video game properties to step up and start producing like more quality video game adaptations that are more in line with the source material. See, for me, you might have liked Uncharted, but to me, I haven't seen it, but from what I've gathered, it doesn't seem like it really does capture the spirit from the games.
Yeah, not at
for
all.
the most part. Like Uncharted should be the thing that, in my opinion, Uncharted has the potential to be the new Indiana Jones if they did it right.
That's what it's based off of.
Yes, exactly. But it could be like the modern like day. Yeah. Okay, Indiana Jones too old. We're not going to make those movies anymore. But we got this Uncharted thing, which is like perfect for it's just kind of taking over that like archaeologist serial adventure thing. But they turn it into like a shitty video game itself instead of giving, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I mean, for one thing, like, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the whole drama around One Piece, the Netflix adaptation, which is pretty good.
I've heard it was good. Yeah.
There's
But
been drama?
No, it's
an anime.
A remake of an anime.
Yeah, I know, but you said there was drama.
I mean, drama? Like, so basically, the creator, Eiichiro Oda, said, okay, I'm not going to let you guys fuck this up. Like, I have creative control on that. And it's similar to oh God, who created Metal Gear?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I don't remember his name, but I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
So he doesn't want a Metal Gear movie because he doesn't want to fuck it up unless it's him doing it.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say about Nintendo when I was going to say I was going to go back to Nintendo. Look how long it took for them to make a Mario Brothers movie. You know what I mean? I know we had the Bob
Well,
Hoskins
they had a
thing.
bad taste in their mouth
Yeah,
after that.
but like that's why we don't have a Zelda movie either. Like they know
Oh
what
yeah,
Hollywood
it'll
will
just
do
get
to it.
messed up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
bad.
So absolutely. Like same thing. Like one of my favorite video games of all time is Half-Life. You know,
Oh
and I would love to see them do Half-Life, but of course I want to see it done right. And you know, Valve, they won't let. There are, I think J.J. Abrams actually has the rights to the movie right now. I don't know,
Whoa.
but they're not. My point is like Valve's not going to let anyone make the movie until like
The right person.
until the
comes
right
along,
person
yeah.
comes along, until the
Yeah.
right, yeah, which is great. So
And some of these projects have been stuck in like development hell forever. Like BioShock, I remember.
Gore Verbinski.
Yeah, so it was supposed to star Wentworth Miller from Prison Break, and then that went nowhere.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting film.
That would be, yeah, absolutely.
They
I
were
like that.
supposed to
That
make
game is
a
great.
Metal Gear film forever as well, and that has not happened. At
Yeah,
first,
the-
Christian Bale was supposed to be Snake. Now it's what's his name? Oh gosh, Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, there was a period where he was just popping up in every single movie ever.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Oscar Isaac. He doesn't
He's
seem
all
like
right.
the type of person that I would get along with in real life. He looks like an asshole. I don't know. I don't know. That's just maybe that's me.
I get it. I think he's good though. I liked him in Ex Machina. Like
Oh yeah,
he was so good in that movie. But he does play a prick in that.
Yeah.
And he plays a good prick in Drive. He's
Oh,
not in it
yeah.
that much, but he's like a total asshole in that
Who's he in
movie.
Drive?
He plays Carrie Mulligan's husband or whatever.
With the weird name.
I
Right.
don't remember.
Yeah, it was with Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah, that's the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Are you saying
yeah.
that he had a weird name in the movie?
Yes.
I
And
don't,
there's like a joke about it. How
I don't remember that. I haven't seen it in a while, even though I do like that movie.
I didn't realize. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he's her husband
Oh
that
yeah,
comes home.
who gets killed?
He has that scene where he's like talking to Ryan Gosling. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy, huh? Huh? Okay."
Yeah.
He does it really well, and like he's just like
Deluxe.
Was that his name?
I think his name was Deluxe.
It was something like that. Now that you
yeah.
say that, yeah.
It was something weird like that.
And then you're getting these video game adaptations on the streaming network. So, who did the Halo series? Apparently, I mean that was terrible.
Didn't that get canceled before it even came out?
Oh yeah. And then
I'm not a Halo fan. I mean, I don't dislike it. I just never got into it. But I hear that the fans of that were pretty pissed off
They were
when that came out.
irate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw half of the first episode, and I'm like, all right, how first of all, how could you make a movie about this or a TV show? But Twisted Metal, like it's Demolition Derby essentially. Like
Yeah,
what?
that was
or
another
Death
one.
Race.
Or
Right.
yeah, Twisted Metal was
Like,
okay.
but that's like
It's like
that's like a 20-year-old game. Who was asking for that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a new game. That's like PS1.
And that's also the problem with a lot of these video game adaptations. It's like they make them 10 years after
What
their
haven't
prime.
we defiled?
Right.
Let's dig into the library from 20
They better
years
not
ago.
touch my Gabriel Knight. I'll be upset if she's through with that.
Oh, that's coming. I'm telling
They're
you.
coming.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
all
if they
coming.
could just make a movie and follow the story of the game, then it would be great.
Yeah,
But-
I mean and I've talked to him about this before, but I think that like you can do. This is another series that they've royally fucked up multiple times, but Resident Evil.
Yeah.
You know, you can have one season be one game. You
Yeah.
know, and you know, like imagine if they did like Resident Evil 4, but like in an 8-part Netflix series. That could be
fantastic.
awesome. Like if you
Yeah.
have the right people doing it.
That's the
you
one
know?
in Spain?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just got done playing the remake.
The remake, yeah. My son loves that game.
Oh, it's
No,
it's
it's one of
fantastic.
the best in the series. Yeah.
Yeah.
That original movie is just like half the characters get taken out by a room full of lasers.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like,
fucking hate those movies.
Those decisions, I don't know who's making them. But
I fucking hate those movies. Again, that series has never been done properly. Then they had that new one come out a couple years ago, Return or Welcome to Raccoon City.
I didn't even watch that because
It was
don't
bad.
bother. Don't bother. Yeah, I mean, like, although it's tough. Like, why are we making live action adaptations of these games when games are just cinematic already?
Yes.
I remember picking up the original Metal Gear Solid from Blockbuster and like on a Friday night after I came home from school, and I don't know, I played that thing straight through and beat it in a day, and it just felt like I had experienced an action movie. And it's I think the issue is that people don't acknowledge the fact that video games are a valid storytelling medium.
Exactly. That's what I mean when studios just say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We just throw the name on it." They don't take it seriously.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's why they haven't really made a good one, because they just don't take it seriously.
Right, because when people think about video games, they'll be like, "Oh, Halo or Call of Duty," where there's like, it's just that Halo, Call of Duty, Quake 3 Arena, Unreal Tournament, Counter Strike. It's all the same thing. It's a sandbox, death match,
Right.
and fine, and doesn't have a story, but they overlook things like Final Fantasy VII, Earthbound. Even the Tomb Raider series had a bit of a story.
that's
Um,
getting a
you know,
rehash soon.
video game wise, or
No,
They're making another film.
Isn't
or a series. They're making an Amazon series.
Olivia Wilde?
And I think she's
Of
producing
what?
it.
Wait, what?
Tomb
What?
Raider.
Tomb Raider.
Oh,
No,
Olivia Wilde.
she's
Is
producing
working
it.
on-
I don't think she's,
Yeah,
I think
but
she's
just-
producing it.
Yeah.
Just
No,
her
she's definitely not
involvement
starring in it.
makes me concerned.
yeah. I mean, I liked Alicia Vikander. Her in the 2018 Tomb Raider, and then her in Ex Machina.
I think she's a good actress. I don't necessarily
good
think she was
actress.
right for that role, but
Tomb
for
Raider.
Lara Croft. But I do like her though.
I think it was more an adaptation of like the newer
The newer ones.
games, which completely. I mean, I don't know if it retconned. I didn't play them all, so I don't really know. What the storyline thing is, but I guess it was like more of an origin story with for the first game in that trilogy. And I think that they adapted that. And I mean, I played maybe, I don't know, a few hours of the game, and it seemed like, they adapted it properly. I didn't, it was kind of like a benign movie that, flew under the radar. I think it came out in like March. So, that's a dead zone for movies.
Yeah, I was in the dead
lot of
zone for
movies.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that it's kind of like what you were saying. A lot of these games, you can make the argument that a lot of games nowadays are even more cinematic than movies.
Yeah, like God of War. You ever played those games?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's like, and I kind of like what you're saying. These movies, these games are so cinematic that it's almost like they already have a roadmap plan, like to just make a movie. Obviously, in translation from a game to a movie, you got to take things out or rearrange things here and there. Sure, but there still is the plan that's already laid out. But studios, writers, they have like the hubris where they don't think that they have to do it. They
Right.
just think that like, well, I'm going to come up with something and it's going to be better than what the
Right.
source material is. But no, it's like, I think that if you go back and you look at the most successful things that are made off of IPs, the things that are the closely resembling the source material always do the best. So you have to honor what made it popular in the first place, and if you do that, then people are going to like it. And I think that if you're the kind of person, like I've said this before, but if you're the kind of person that likes The Last Jedi, or if you like Rise of Skywalker, you're going to like anything that gets thrown your way. All right. So in my opinion, please the fans. Please the fans. Those other people are going to like it no matter what. It doesn't matter,
Right.
but just please your fan base,
Right.
and you'll make something good.
Yeah, and I mean, certain things don't need a remake, or they're so expansive that they don't need a remake, like Final Fantasy VII. Like I think the remake sucks. It's just a button masher now.
Yeah, so I've heard. I haven't played it, but
It's
that's what I've heard.
don't. I mean, it's designed for like the TikTok generation. It's just keep mashing X, and you'll eventually win every battle.
Yeah, today's gamer is a topic for another discussion as well. It's some other day, but yes, I agree with you.
But that game is so expansive that you really can't adapt it even into a TV series, and you shouldn't.
Right.
It's a good standalone thing. Leave it alone.
Well, thankfully they have thus far. So,
Well,
Right.
they just haven't gotten into it yet.
You
Right.
know, I know there's like a cult classic that everybody loves is Earthbound. I mean, I dread the day that they're gonna make that a movie. Like, just leave it alone. It was
I could
fantastic.
see it as a cartoon.
Yeah,
I'm the original Earthbound was great,
yeah.
but I'm glad they haven't touched it. I mean,
Yeah.
like the most they did was take those characters and bring them into Smash Brothers. It's like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, and one of my favorite games. It's incredibly cinematic. It felt like playing a movie. Was Spider-Man for PS4. I picked that up actually during the pandemic because I bounced out of the city, early that March, and I was like, I miss the city. Well, I might as well just like pop open Spider-Man and swing around it if I can't be there. And but the game, like the story was great. It felt like I was playing a movie with my own choices and whatever, but you follow the general storyline. So that's a game based on a comic book, and whatever. It's some things you just gotta just leave alone and respect the medium. Really,
Yeah.
not all books have to be movies. Not all video games have to get adapted. Yeah, I mean it's just a money grab, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's a sad state, and there's other countries that are picking up the slack. Like, have you guys seen South Korean movies lately? I mean, holy crap!
South Korea makes some
Those Koreans, man.
good content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good content.
Good content.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Train to Busan, fantastic.
I still haven't seen it.
It's really
Oh,
good.
I
so
bought
good.
it. I have the 4K disc. I just haven't watched it yet.
They made a sequel.
It's,
I heard
Oh,
it's not
did
that
they?
good.
oh, the sequel.
No good. Huh?
I didn't
Yeah.
watch it, but I could tell by the trailer it looked like it wasn't going to be good. They took it and they blockbustered it.
But
Yeah.
but it's good, Sin. It's a good movie. The first one.
Oh yes, it's
Oh, yeah.
very good. Yes.
Yeah, no
Okay.
wokeness, no ideology, nothing.
Oh,
Just
they don't do any of that shit over there.
No, they
Like,
don't do that.
and
No.
same thing with their video games too. Like, or not them, but like Japanese video games. No woke
yeah.
bullshit. So like the Resident Evil 4 remake that came out. There's a little bit in it, especially if you compare it to the old one, but still, for the large part, they just excise all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like the Koreans. I mean, even back. I mean, like going back to like Old Boy. That's a
Oh
great.
God, yeah.
Have you guys seen The Good, the Bad, the Weird?
I have not seen that movie. I always have wanted to see that.
That is
but
such a fun film.
Yeah, that looks cool. I've never seen it though. That
It's
came out like
really-
early 2000s, right?
Something like that. I
Yeah.
don't remember what year. There's also I Saw the Devil.
I've been telling him
really
about
good.
that. I've been telling
Yeah,
him and
you've
his
been
wife
talking
about
that
that.
up. You've been
Yeah,
talking that
I
up.
fucking love that movie. It's
Yeah,
so good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
They just do cool things. They're trying over there, and
They don't
Well,
care
they're
about
actually they're
genres.
story
They don't.
focused.
oh,
and
I saw the
story-
devil. I saw the devil as like a thriller, a horror, and an action movie. Just like
Yeah, they
It
genre
was
mash
a
like
very
nobody.
bloody revenge movie.
yes, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
good.
especially a movie like Old Boy, it's a lot more well thought out. Where it's like when you see the twist at the end, I'm like, oh shit! Like, whoa.
Well, you didn't like the Spike Lee version?
I haven't seen it.
So I'm in the minority on this one because with regard to Old Boy, I saw the American remake 1st. And
Oh,
I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Then I watched the original and I didn't like it as much.
Oh,
as the
you had to have
remake.
seen the original first, then.
oh,
That could be the only explanation as to why.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. I'm not sure what it was because there have been something. So, like, I saw The Guilty. I think it was called The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal. It was a Netflix movie. It's a remake. It was a remake of I think a Danish or Swedish film, and I saw The Guilty, that one first, the remake, and hated Jake Gyllenhaal so much that I didn't ever want to hear him talk again, ever.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And then I watched the original, and that one was actually better.
But then
The
you saw the
writing was
Covenant,
better.
and
The
you
acting
forgave
was
him.
better. Say what?
You saw the Covenant, and you forgave him.
I did. I forgave him, but you know what? I didn't want to see Ambulance because I had just seen The Guilty, and I'm like, I don't want to hear him talk. Then I did to go see The Covenant because it's a Guy Ritchie movie, and he was not annoying in that. His voice was okay.
Yeah,
Just I don't.
that's actually one thing I got to thank you. You got me on. I watched your review, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go
Oh,
watch this.
so good.
For a Covenant?
Oh yes, it
Yeah, I
is
need to watch that.
so good. And Dar Salim, the guy who plays the translator interpreter guy. Oh my goodness,
That did look
his
really good.
performance. It's
I
very
haven't watched
good.
it.
It's
Okay.
probably
Watch it.
going to be my number
Guy
one
Ritchie.
film this year.
Really?
Wow.
It probably either
praise.
that it's close between that and Sound of Freedom.
No. Okay.
But the Covenant's probably going to edge out over Sound of Freedom. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys? What's your take on Sound of Freedom? Have you guys seen it?
Yeah, we saw.
I
We
have
did a
seen
review.
it.
we did a review on it.
Yeah.
We liked it.
I've seen it twice.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
good. Yeah.
I mean, both times that I saw it, I heard people bawling in the theater.
Yeah. Actually, when I went on the week of July 4th with my parents, because my mom had been following Tim Ballard's story for years.
Same.
So
Yeah.
she had heard about this movie, and it hadn't come out, and now finally it's out. So we went to go see it, and the lady next to me, there's early on, there's a very touching scene with one of the little kids, and lady next to me was she started crying, So I reached over and was patting her shoulder, but there's definitely some scenes that are tough to watch, very sad.
Although
and,
it is like very tastefully done.
Yeah.
In terms of like what
it
they
is.
show and
What they imply.
Yeah.
So your imagination just runs with it because you know what's happening, even though they don't really show you anything.
And that's what makes that a good movie, because they
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, and the kids were fantastic.
They were really good.
Oh my goodness,
They were some of the
those
best kid
child
actors I've
actors.
ever seen.
Right?
Yeah,
They were
they
so
nailed it.
good. They were so good. And it recently opened in Mexico, and so a week or a couple weeks ago, whenever it opened in Mexico, my husband was watching the Spanish news, and it was showing Tim Ballard and the two kids. They were having a press conference, and wow, Tim Ballard's Spanish is excellent. It's very good, and the kids, of course, they're like 5 years older now, so they've changed quite a bit. But it was cool to see them. They're super talented. Those children. Oh
And
my
now-
goodness.
Yeah, I will shit on a kid actor, no problem, if they suck. But
Yeah, exactly. Same, but they were good. I find no fault at all in their
Yeah,
performance.
they were
None.
good.
And now they're trying to cancel Tim Ballard. It's like, oh, he's got these Me Too allegations. I'm
Yeah, heard
wait a
about
minute,
that.
guy with 9 kids that
Yeah.
goes after predators. Really?
Hey, is
him
it
and Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Is it
This is-
possible? Okay, but you know what they're doing. Like you can
it's-
tell.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you can
It's-
tell they're effective.
It's extremely suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did
so-
you guys see the UK, a member of the UK Parliament,
Wrote to Rumble.
Rumble?
Oh yeah, trying to get Russell Brand demonetized off the
Yeah.
Right,
platform.
and Rumble told them to go F themselves.
Yep,
Which
good for them.
then you realize, okay, that's the conspiracy here. He probably, I've been watching his videos, and he talks a lot about, he gets real with things. He sees the world as it is. He doesn't provide this manicured analysis that you would get on Fox or CNN or whatever, MSNBC. And, well, he must have said the wrong thing and the wrong person heard it. And yeah, I guess it's the Matrix going after him,
Yeah.
to borrow.
He hasn't even been charged.
Yeah,
with
he hasn't been
anything.
charged.
No.
There's no investigation.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
It's just
matter.
an allegation.
He's just done.
Yeah, they will. These nutty ass tech companies will just like, oh well, the allegation, that's enough, because it's the allegations that we don't like. So
Right.
you know what?
Right. So now
Yeah.
he's completely
Yeah, I mean,
demonetized on
yeah.
YouTube.
How do you guys feel about that? I mean, we're all YouTubers here, so
Oh,
Yeah.
I think
I think it's scary.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely insidious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, I think that they can probably dig up anything that we've ever said at some point, some stupid thing or some joke that we've told,
Sure.
and then just use that against you. If the day comes, if any of us ever become really effective in some way or not, they can come after you if they want. It sucks. It's bullshit.
Then you got to rely on Rumble.
You gotta rely on. Well, maybe at
Well,
that
I mean,
point, Rumble will be a viable.
You guys should already port out to Rumble.
We should. We should.
Yeah, I
So
think
I do that as well. I mean, I don't. My channel is really going nowhere on Rumble, but I still port all my videos out just in
yeah,
case.
I think we were going to do that. I think for in October.
Yeah.
Our 1 year anniversary is coming up. So I think we were like,
congratulations.
we'll just port everything out to
Rumble.
and just
Yeah,
start
and it'll
doing
just
that.
automatically. It'll automatically send your videos over. I would like to start live streaming, but I think you have to have 100 subscribers before you can live stream on Rumble.
Okay.
I would like to, simulcast, on YouTube and Rumble,
Yeah.
but I can't do that yet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I don't think I can anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've been tossing around the idea of doing a podcast, sort of like this, where you just shoot the shit about any given movie or topic, just to be able to diversify away from just being simply on YouTube.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You could make your videos a podcast.
Oh yeah,
YouTube has that feature now. So I make all my reviews automatically go in my podcast playlist as well as my reviews playlist.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I would have made into a longer podcast would be that Dark Age of Cinema series that I've done, and I think I need to resurrect that because there's a lot going on still.
Oh yeah.
But hey, man, guys, this has been really, really fun. I'm really thankful that you guys came on, and
Sure.
I've come up the YouTube ranks. I've only been at it for a little over a year, same as you guys. But can you guys, each one of you, tell us what you're up to. Tell us what's upcoming on your channels and where people can find you.
Yeah, so we have 2 videos in the can right now. We're working on them to get them released. One's going to be a face-off between the two of us. Him and me always agree on everything, pretty much. But we do kind of disagree on one thing, and that's Top Gun. So I think that the sequel is better than the original. He thinks the original.
Yes. I agree.
So we kind of have a debate about that.
We have a very good debate.
Yes, so that's coming.
That's
up.
our next video.
That's our next video, and then we also since I met him really, which has been a year and a half or so at this point. I've been trying to talk. He's never seen Batman versus Superman, so
what?
Yes, he's never seen that piece of shit.
Well, so,
wait! Hold up. I love that movie.
Oh, fuck that movie.
wait. So no, we sat down and he got me to watch the ultimate cut.
Yes,
because I had never seen it, and then I watched it, and then we had a discussion about it.
Yeah, so we watched that too. So those are the 2 videos that we got coming up.
That's coming, and then because obviously October is right around the corner, we're going to be focusing on horror
Halloween
movies quite
stuff.
a bit. Yeah, maybe we'll do some Halloween stuff. Definitely Exorcist is coming.
Unfortunately, we have to see that.
Yeah, and I know there's a few other things coming out, so
we're going to see the creator that's coming out.
The creator is coming, so we're gonna be doing a live.
That actually looks good.
Or at least a collaboration with another channel that we know about that video, so that'll be coming. That'll be with Revelo. So.
And don't forget the Marvels.
That's November.
No.
November's too far away to even think
not
about.
watching that.
I'm just going to try to enjoy spooky season right now and not even think about that.
So you guys have not only known each other a little bit more than a year?
We met in April of 2022.
Oh, okay. I guess I assumed you guys were longtime friends and started up this channel
well,
together.
I mean, basically, it feels like it's been 20 years.
Most people say we're the same person. So
yeah, just grew up on different coasts.
Yes, he's my East Coast counterpart.
Yeah.
And Sin, what are you coming up with?
I've got an upcoming review for Haunting in Venice. and
Oh, yeah.
I just released a review for Satanic Hispanics.
Oh, nice.
I saw that last week,
Have to
and
check that out.
got a live stream coming up on Monday about movies from 2018,
Okay.
and also a video coming up, me just talking about my recap of Dragon Con when I went to Dragon Con
Oh, nice.
last
Was that,
last
is that in Atlanta? Where
yes.
is Dragon? Yeah.
Yeah, in Atlanta. Have you guys you've never been there?
I've been to
Okay.
Atlanta before. The Coca-Cola Museum was interesting.
Is that
Atlanta
only in Atlanta, or is that? Do they
Yes.
also have Dragon Con in LA?
No, it's
Okay, then
only
I
in
haven't been to that.
Atlanta. It's huge. It takes
Okay.
place in about 4 to 5 different buildings, with
Mm.
the bulk of it happening in 3, but the Hilton, the Hyatt, and the Marriott right side by side. A lot of it's huge. I happened to meet so I don't know if you guys have heard of Latino Slant, his channel. He kind of runs in circles with Nerd Erotic and Chris Gore from Film Threat.
Yeah, he sounds familiar.
It's so yeah, so I started to know Paulie from Latino Slant, and then through him found out that he goes and sees movies regularly with Nerd Erotic and with Gary from Film Threat and some other people, and so then Chris Gore from Film Threat, yeah, Gary from yeah, Chris Gore from Film Threat went to Dragon Con. So I touched base with him and got to meet him, and we had a nice long conversation, which was really cool. And so he invited me to, like, if ever I go out to California to visit my brother, go join them on movie night, with their
Awesome.
group of people.
Oh,
So
that'd be cool.
that would be really fun. But Chris Gore was just so much fun to talk to. He loves movies. Just like we just had this long, we talked about all these different things, including a recent horror movie, Talk to Me, which was, I thought, really good. But yeah, so that's what I've got coming up.
That's
And
awesome.
whatever movies I go to see, I'm going to go see the creator as well. And I've already got tickets for a bunch of stuff.
Did
What
you
time-
like Haunting in Venice?
I felt kind of meh about it, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah, because the style of filmmaking that he used was different from the first two, and I didn't like that. Like, he had a lot of weird, like, some people loved it, like Paulie from Latino Slant loved it, but he had a lot of, like, with the cameras up above and looking down at people, and it just gives this weird disconnected feeling, and like
It's like a horror movie.
fishbowl. Yeah, but it wasn't really. It was just an Agatha Christie murder mystery, So and it was the whole movie was dark and stormy, and it was just very, very atmospheric. But I think I like the first two more than the third one.
I'm looking forward to your review.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What time's your live stream on Monday?
We usually do the live streams at 8 p.m. And we just basically get on our group of people. We get on and we go through the top 10, talk about them, and then we start talking about just a bunch of different movies that we liked from that particular year.
Mm-hmm.
So that we're going to be wrapping that series up with our 2019, and then we'll try to think of some other stuff to do movie live streams about.
Yeah, well, that sounds awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing it Monday night. And again, thank you guys for coming on.
Of course, thanks for inviting
Absolutely.
us.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes.
Glad to
A lot
meet
of
you guys for the first time at Hardcut Reviews. I'll have links to to everybody's channels down in the description, and I'll probably be cutting up the live stream into a few different sections, so you could just catch a few snippets. And I'll keep on continuing to online bully Ahsoka. Chain.
We'll tune in.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Cool. Thanks,
All
Paul.
right.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having us.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you guys.
See you guys.
Bye.